everybody, I'm Nitishwala AJ from 8th grade and I welcome you all to this discussion on account of the National Education Day. Today we have with us our respective principal ma'am who's always been a support to us and our motivation. And also we have with us our respected CE trainer who always guides us towards better communication. And also we can't forget our two teams who are here to discuss whether the ancient system of education, that is the Gurukula system, is better than the modern education system or if it's vice versa. So now we'll have a quick intro of all our teammates.
Hello everybody, I'm Vidusha Karan of 7th grade.
Hello everybody, I'm Evinathan of grade 7.
Hello everyone, I'm Manishi Parveen of grade 7.
Hello everyone, I'm Divyesh PU from grade 6.
Hello everyone, I'm Aishwarya of grade 8.
Hello everyone, I'm Akshay of grade 7.
Hello everybody, I'm Jenny Shastri from grade 8.
Hello everybody, I'm Prashant from grade 8.
Hello everyone, I'm Pranita of grade 8.
Hello everyone, I'm Mercedes from grade 7.
I'm Jen Pravantika from grade 7.
Hello everyone, this is Aryan of grade 7.
Thank you everybody. So what do you know about the National Education Day?
Every year since 2008, number 11 was celebrated as Education Day to commemorate the birth anniversary of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. He was also first education minister of India.
The day is also seen as an occasion to remember Azad's contribution of an education system in an independent India.
And his focus was on evaluating and improving the country's current performance in the fields of education. Yes, exactly. You all are right. Education is the imparting and acquiring of knowledge through learning and teaching, especially at a school or any similar institution. The earliest educational processes involve sharing information about gathering food, providing shelter, learning languages, and also acquiring the values, behavior, and religious rights of a given culture. Before reading and writing was invented, people were living in an environment in which they struggled to survive against the natural forces, animals, as well as other human beings. So only to survive, pre-literate people started developing some skills, and those were the skills that grew into the educational and cultural patterns today. So before we start our discussion, are you all ready?
Yes!
So before we start our discussion, what according to you all is education?
Education is what to bring students into a profession like doctor, teacher, engineer and so on.
Education is not only changing a person into a professional, but also the training of personal skills like to greet everybody, to face everybody in his life, respect and so on.
Yes, I agree with both of you. Education should focus on making an individual a professional in the work of his choice, but it also should focus on teaching him the life skills and moral values that he needs to survive in his everyday life. So now we'll jump into this discussion with a question. What was the aim of the Gurukula system of education and what is the aim of our current education system?
The main focus of Gurukula was in imparting learning to the students in a very natural surrounding where the Shishyas lived with each other with brotherhood, humanity, love and discipline.
The essential teachings were in subjects like language, science, mathematics, and they are taught through group discussions and self-learning.
Yes, Divyesh, I totally agree with you. In those days, the gurus taught their students through discussions and self-learning. But these days, for example, if we take the campus interviews, there the students are finding it really difficult to go through the discussions because they weren't taught in such a way.
No, Natasha, I can't go with your point. Even nowadays, in some schools they are implementing group discussions, seminars and speeches.
Yes, Janisha, I agree with your point. But those are only in some schools. Most of the schools are still following only the syllabus. And this system of seminars and discussions is introduced only during college.
I go with your point, Nitishri. So in curricular education, the focus was also given on arts, sports, crafts, singing, and that developed their intelligence and critical thinking.
The aim of the Gurukul system was not only to make the students understand the concept, but also to make them apply their knowledge in day-to-day life.
Modern education is a dynamic way of learning, enabling students to learn a lot faster. And I oppose your point, Vidusha. The Shishyas was not living that happily because at the tender age of it, they needed to live their near and dear ones.
Actually, the people from foreign countries wanted their kids to have the practice of leading an independent life so that will help them in future. But still, in our Indian culture, that was mandatory, but we were not accepting it.
Modern education is activity based comprising of questioning, complaining, demonstration and collaboration techniques. This form of education teaches imagination, creativity, thinking, and visualizing. And I oppose your point that the students were not taught science and math, they were only through Vedas. And modern education is safe and secure, implementing as many security measures to ensure the safety of the students, teachers, and even parent visiting.
The Gurukul education is entirely consists of Vedas, epics, and literature. This will help us to live a simple and a cultured life. As you said, in modern education, there are a lot of security measures. But in Gurukul education, the Guru's assistance would guard the curriculum.
The unique aspect of modern education is the introduction of a grading system, but your point is not acceptable. They only taught crafts.
Who told you that in Gurukul education crafts were not taught? For example, they taught how to make pottery and etc. As you said about the grading system, I would like to register that in modern education, the grading system affects the students' life, including evaluations by teachers, standardized test scores, exam results can affect students' behavior.
So now that we've got an idea about the aim of both the systems and what they are focused on, I'd like to know what are the advantages that both the systems have.
Modern education splits the equality.
And also modern education comprises screening and lectures which are scheduled at specific timings. This helps make students more functional and consistent.
It helps the students to engage with the real world, which makes them analyze what happens in different life spheres.
Yes, I agree that modern education spreads equality, but there are some curriculums who treat everybody equal. In modern education, everybody is in a rat race to be ahead of others, rather than focusing on self-development. I oppose your point, Akshay. Modern education is not a rat race. Currently, modern education focuses on student-centered approach. Student gets more focused on the areas where they need to be improved and gives them a deep knowledge. Mostly, modern education favors the independent learning methods. Learners must be self-directed towards achieving their academic goals and should be self-motivated.
The modern education system may have the influence of technology, but all of it comes at cost. There's a huge amount of fee paid to the school these days, but this won't happen in the Gurukul system as the relationship between the gurus and the sishyas was so sacred that no fee is collected. Only Guru Dakshina was to be given by the student in the form of any special task performed for the teacher.
That's a great point, Vinodcharan. Let's see what the other team has to say about that. Yeah, I can agree to your point, Vinodcharan, that comparatively in this modern education, we are getting a good infrastructure with smart classes, well-determined and professional teachers, highly ranked books, learning apps, secure transport, maintenance, and so on. Hence, we are in a comfort zone of learning without any distractions. Whereas in Gurukul education, the students need to do their work as well as the gurus' work like food preparation, washing clothes, and other services required by gurus. Hence, we are in such a position to compensate our needs in respect of cost would be a fulfillment for a better modern education.
Even when the modern education system helps the students engage in the real world, there's a total absence of moral conscience and ethical training. It takes very less time for physical activities and other skills development. This can assist the student to become a better human being. I would like to oppose with Anisha's point. As she said, there is total absence of moral conscience and ethical training in modern education. No, not at all. I would strongly say that all the moral values are trained, and we also exclusively have skill development training in our schools, and it is also part of our curriculum.
Physical activities. I don't think these days people are doing any physical activities. Mostly they are all sitting with your gadgets. So are you people doing any physical activities?
Yes, I do help my mom in the kitchen every day.
Yeah, even I do yoga and cycling in the morning. Okay, so I guess some people are doing physical activities these days. So that leads us to our next question. What do you think is better, the Gurukula system or the modern education system?
The gurus had vast knowledge and they knew how to direct things. That is how to teach. This tradition used to take as much time as required, and due to this, students used to come out in a subtle form.
In Gurukul education, students used to achieve a particular style and a high level of proficiency. Students were respected the Guru and were taught to follow discipline. Most teaching was practical and the style of education had many advantages. The student was given such an environment that the person would become a successful person with the work of his choice.
Modern education was formed in a syllabus manner so that the students can get vast knowledge. But this is not possible in Gurukul education. The Gurus will share only their own knowledge. In modern education, there are separate high qualified trained teachers and also for extra activities too. In this form, the student will understand well and have an opportunity to play in national levels too. For example, dancing, singing, yoga, skating and so on.
I oppose your point, Pravantika. The word syllabus itself is misleading. This word has not only confined the extent of our knowledge but also our thoughts. There's bound to be a problem if either of them are confined.
Okay, so now I'd like to add another point. You know, these days most of the students are just mucking up the answers and memorizing and writing their exams. Only few students really understand the concepts, and if you ask those answers after a few weeks, they might not be able to answer. Hey, come on Nitishri, modern education is not a spoon feeding. In modern education, the questions will not be from the book. It will only from the related concepts. As it is not from the book, the students need to assume the related concept by thinking broadly. By thinking broadly, their exposure will develop. And from this, we can clearly see that modern education is not a spoon feeding. And also, there is a bigger advantage of technology. Okay, let me take a present situation. In this pandemic, we are not able to attend the class in live. So, we are using online classes. If the same situation would have been in the earlier time, what would they do? That's a great point, Janisha. You know, let's see what the other team has to say about that. Actually, the Shishyas lived with the Guru till the end of the academic year and not for 1 or 2 days. Each and everybody was so united like a family. Even during pandemic, we are there with our family, right? Yeah, and that's how they would have been. So I don't think so that makes a vast difference. As you said, online classes are took nowadays. The people from cities can attend it. What about the people from rural areas who don't have enough facilities to attend will do? And also, I have a real life example where a girl who belonged to a poor family wanted to buy a smartphone to attend her classes, but she was not able to. So, she took a wrong decision. And here, digital inequality is found. So, do you have any answer for this? I hope you don't. I think from this point that would be clear for the judges which system of education is better.
Can you say that modern education students will be brilliant and Gurukulam? For example, the kings. How did they know which is good and which is bad for the kingdom? Because when they're young, they're sent to Gurukula to know which is good and which is bad. With this, we can conclude that Gurukulam students are brilliant.
Yes, Anisha, I agree with your point. Those days, the gurus taught their students a lot of prayers and bhajans. Through this, they knew which was good and which was bad. But these days, the students are exposed to both good and bad stuff due to the technology. So, now that we've started talking about technology, why do you think it's okay to connect technology with our education? Not like that. Nowadays, students are multi-talented. They get more opportunities to learn from their teachers, parents and through internet also. So, they are very clear which one is good and which one is bad. Okay, but you know, today's world is developing and the technology is booming up. But do you think if we still stick with the Gurukula system of education, we would develop?
Technology offers many experiences for students and also provides learning materials which enable us to learn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week and builds 21st century skills.
Technology may give a bigger impact on good education in the next decade in the method of fun learning too. You know, today's technology is booming up and the world is developing. But if we still stick with the Gurukula system of education, how do you think we would develop?
Technology does help students, but websites have become more focused on getting better ranking than actually providing the information they need to. Many sites are putting up misleading information online to earn more visits, even if that information is not accurate.
A lot of innovations, especially gadgets, tends to experience some errors. For example, many servers experience some downtime and problems which causes inconvenience learning and doesn't always help in learning effectively. Yeah, I agree with your point that we all have to be upgraded, but the technology also causes disadvantages. For example, if a teacher is giving an assignment to us, those days the students were writing on their own, but these days the students are very clever, not in writing on their own, but seeing Googles and other stuffs and writing. These days the children are playing, but not their friends with gadgets, which causes them eyesight problems and makes them addicted to the gadgets. So rather than developing the technology which gives us disadvantages, we can develop the Gurukula.
We little harder to understand a concept without visualized learning. As we all know, no effort is ever wasted. So spending some more time on a topic will only bring a better understanding of a topic.
Okay, so now it will be an open-ended session in which you can ask any questions or just share some general views.
I have a question. If the technology is not in practice, which method will you use to make the student learn easier and faster?
Even if the technology was not invented, modern education is having various methodologies to come across best education. For an example, taking the children to the field trip and teaching them in a practical manner. Now let me ask my question. In this present situation, we all are having the right to select our best school. But in that earlier days, the students were not allowed to select their best schools. But a notable point here is the prince were allowed to select their best schools. It's like discriminating other people. What is your opinion on that?
How can you say that? No discrimination was found those days. Only nowadays there are many boards like matriculation, CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, IB and so on. You say each and everything is better than each other, like CBSE being better than matriculation, ICSE being better than CBSE, IGCSE being better than ICSE, and IB being better than IGCSE and so on. Likewise, we did not have any different syllabuses those days. Only one syllabus was followed by all the gurus. So even if the prince was allowed to select their own guru, the concept taught was same. So everyone got equal education. So now I have a question. Nowadays, the teachers are focusing to complete the portions and are more focused on content and curriculum. The focus on value-based information is very less, whereas in Gurukul system that was very high. Why is that so?
They're not focused on academics, but they're helping us to understand the concept. And it is not curriculum-based learning, it's curriculum activity-based learning. It encourages the students to actively participate in their own learning experience through practical activities such as problem solving and independent investigation. However, I have a question that the students of Gurukul education are divided by caste and creed. They were not treated equally. But in modern education, the students are treated equally. What do you think about this?
I oppose Varshit's point. The modern education system only practices more discrimination than the Gurukul. For example, if a student wanted to study in a high standard school, they can't because of the fee structure they had to pay. But in Gurukul system, this is not happening as there was no fees collected and only group, and everyone was treated like a family. Now let me ask my question. Those days, the children were very brave as they were learned sword fighting, archery, etc. But these days, the children are not doing so. Then how can you tell that modern education system students are more valued than the Gurukul?
Modern education was formed in a syllabus manner so that the students can get vast knowledge. But this is not possible in Gurukul educations. The gurus will share only their own knowledge. In modern education, there are separate high qualified trained teachers and also for extra activities too. In this form, the student will understand well and have an opportunity to play in national levels too. For example, dancing, singing, yoga, skating and so on.
You know, those days, the relationship between the students and the gurus was really good and they had a lot of respect for each other. But these days, the value of respect is not seen between the students and the teachers.
I don't think it is as what you said. The students have a friendly approach towards their teacher so that they feel free in clarifying their doubts and queries. And also, they have the respect towards the teacher in all ways.
Okay, so what are the conclusions from both ends?
Gurukulam education is the best education system. The students of Gurukula are more disciplined and organized. They are taught to follow a well-planned schedules at school. The students are more focused and concentrated than a normal student. This is because they are trained in such techniques such as meditation, which enhance their focusing power. The students are taught to respect of their caste, creed, ethical and cultural, religious perspective. So such students grow up with a strong character. With these points, we can conclude that Gurukulam education is the best education system.
In Gurukula education, all students are interested, but they restrict the students' knowledge. But in modern education, it is widely available, flexible, convenient, and covers a vast area of subject knowledge. Hence, I would say, in current competence, world modern education is better than Gurukula education. It builds self-confidence in students.
Now, Mr. Narendra Modi ji has come up with a policy named National Education Policy 2021, which is an universalization of education. It is created to bring a focus on vocational skills. Only the name National Education Policy is new, but still the focus on vocational skills was given only during our system. So again, we are stepping back on Gurukul system of learning. So now I'd like to share you a proverb, and that is old is gold. Now I strongly conclude saying that Gurukul system of learning is the best education system of all. Name all the points to satisfy the judges and they'll give us the right judgment. East or west, Gurukul is best.
I would like to say only one point surely and strongly. That is the modern education is the best education ever. The reason behind it is the modern education will not focus on one or two subjects particularly. Modern education will focus on a lot of subjects like Tamil, Hindi, English, math, science, social, computer, life skills, GK, sports and so on. And also, we are having a good and vast syllabus. And for better implement, we are also using technology. So, I would like to conclude that the modern education is a platinum.
Hope all our points satisfy the judges and they'll give a positive command. Present education is the platinum.
Thank you everybody, those are such strong conclusions. So now I request our principal ma'am to share her opinion on this discussion, followed by our CE trainer.
Wow, no words to express my happiness and to deliver the appreciation. It's really nice to head for this knowledge embedded even today, where I came to understand that my dear students have proved the vision of Aditya Global School to a great extent in a very short span of time. Deep from my heart, congratulating the anchor Nitishri, the team members of Gurukula system, Vidusha, Divyesh, Aishwarya, Vinucharan, Anisha and Akshay. Coming to the modern era period team, so I would like to congratulate Prashant, Pravantika, Aishwarya, Pranita, Janisha and Aryan. Good luck. So as the information gathered from your words, education is not imparting knowledge in a particular subject or making one fit for securing jobs or to get good scores, but at the same time, it also trains in logical thinking, which helps the upcoming generation to get adapted to the ever-changing environment, which means opening the doors of mind, cleansing the soul, realization of the self. The quality of education greatly influences the quality of manpower. Education should not be stuffing some facts into the brain, but should aim at reforming the human mind. We cannot conclude that which system of education is better than the other, because each has its own merits and demerits. When we talk about the Gurukul system of education, let me quote out the points. Gurukul study has its own significance as it says to the values. It has a structured practice. It inculcates the essence of goodness and always focus on it. Coming to modern system of education, the present systems create a chance to explore. It enhances socialism among all ages. Present education is an easy reach for all races of people. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, as mentioned by Mr. Nelson Mandela. So, we can confine that both system has its own stand, keeping Gurukula as the base. Modern education upgrades the system of education according to the current competencies. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to appreciate both the teams for your valuable points and opinion on both the system of education. And I would like to go with Principal Ma'am's point, as said that both the system has its own identities. And so I would like to conclude with a quote of Swami Vivekananda stating that education is for man-making and character building. So let us follow the traditional method of learning in the modern system. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable points. So we all know that in reality, it is difficult to decide which system is better than the other, because both of the systems have their disadvantages as well as advantages. You know, the modern education system was obtained from the traditional method, But if we give too much importance to the modern education, the traditional method will be forgotten, and that will result in us losing our culture. So therefore, the modern education system as well as the Gurukula system should be given equal importance. Thank you.